Hello, my name is Jen Grantham. I am currently a senior at KSU. This is my presentation on operating systems and firewalls. Within this presentation, we'll review the following: introduction to reflect definitions, overviews of the following operating system and firewall protocols. That includes Windows Server 2019, Windows Firewall, Ubuntu Server 20 LTS, LTS standing for long-term servicing. Linux firewalls include IP tables. We'll also review hardening recommendations for the operating systems and firewalls highlighted in this presentation. First, let's review some general definitions. First of all, what is an operating system? An operating system is a software supporting a computer's basic functions. These functions include supporting tasks, executing applications, controlling peripherals. The most common operating systems used today are Microsoft and Linux. Now, what is a firewall? Firewalls are there to protect the computer system or network designed to block unauthorized access while permitting outward communications. Firewalls exist in both hardware and software form. Firewalls included with operating systems are considered software firewalls, and these are the firewalls types of firewalls that we are reviewing in this presentation. To start, let's compare the features from Microsoft Server 2019 versus Microsoft Server 2016. Microsoft Server 2019 has added the hybrid cloud feature. What is hybrid cloud? Hybrid cloud combines two computing environments sharing information with each other to a single infrastructure, essentially allowing enterprises to move data and applications between private and public environments. An example on how hybrid clouds have helped firms today, if we look at a finance firm. In finance, orders for purchasing financial instruments, such as stocks, equities, options, what have you, can occur on a private cloud, with the data analytics living on a public cloud, reducing storage requirements on the hybrid cloud. So effectively, you have an example where the requirements for how much storage a firm must require is less than if they just had one source of access on the cloud. With the upgrades 2019, Microsoft has improved network capabilities. One of the key improvements is to the core network stack, cutting down on the number of round trip times the number of round trips performed by TCP fast open, also known as TFO, therefore improving page responsiveness and reducing latency. Additional improvements come from the application platform. Key features added include Linux containers on Windows, allowing Windows and Linux-based containers to run on the same container host using the same Docker daemon support for Kubernetes. Kubernetes is an open source platform managing containerized workloads and services. These are considered to be more lightweight and flexible than virtual machines. The container improvements include reduction in size, which means better performance. Container image download size on disk, and startup times have been improved to speed up the container workflows. There's also the Windows Admin Center. This is one of the ones that are probably the most popular of the features of 2019. This manages the Windows 2019 server core. Enhanced security protocols. The enhanced security measures rolled out with Windows Server 2019 include Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, which is ATP, also Windows Defender ATP Exploit Guard. We'll discuss this section a bit more when we're covering the firewalls. Some of the more popular features to Windows Servers 2019 includes the Windows Admin Center, the Linux integration, and the enhanced security protocols. To talk about installation, not to go over the details of how this is installed, but however, there's two options for installation for Windows Server 2019. There's the server core. This is recommended by the Microsoft website. It's a smaller installation, includes core components of Windows Server, supports all server roles, and does not include a graphical interface, a GUI, as we know it as. The server with desktop experience. This includes all the above that you get with a Windows or a server core. However, there's a graphical user interface for the users. Windows Firewall, also known as Windows Defender, provides a host-based two-way network traffic filtering utility by blocking unauthorized network traffic flowing in and out of network devices. The way Windows Defender goes about this is by exposing memory and kernel attacks, suppressing malicious files, and terminating malicious processes. An additional extension of Windows Defender is the Windows Defender ATP Exploit Guard. The Exploit Guard has host intrusion prevention capabilities, balancing security risk, but also meeting productivity requirements. It is designed to lock down the device against attacks and block common symptoms of malicious attacks. These components of the Windows Defender ATP Exploit Guard include Attack Surface Reduction, also known as ASR abbreviation. This controls enterprises and can enable preventing malware from getting on machine by blocking malicious files. Examples of files include Microsoft Office files, scripts, lateral movement, ransomware behavior, and email-based threats. Another component is considered network protection. This blocks outbound process on the device to untrusted hosts, IP addresses via Windows Defender Smart Screen controlled. There's also controlled folder access. This protects sensitive data from ransomware by blocking untrusted processes from accessing protected folders. Exploit protection. This protects for vulnerability exploits via configurations within the system. Windows Defender Application Control, aka Code Integrity CI policy, existed in 2016. Deployment has been simplified in 2019 version, inclusive of default CI policies. It allows for Microsoft applications such as SQL Server and blocks known executables that could previously have bypassed the code integrity policy. Hardening recommendations for Windows Server 2019 include only install roles required when only enable roles required when installing roles. Ensure minimum features are enabled, meaning do not enable role features that are not necessary. Fully patch the operating system, creating a monthly patch window, allowing patches to be installed monthly and servers to reboot monthly, so a reoccurring patching system, if you will. The patches that come out with Microsoft are there to protect us from security breaches that may occur. Secure the local administrator network, or account rather, using a local administrator password solution, also known as LAPS. Theft attacks such as pass the hash captures an account login credential from a compromised computer, uses those credentials to authenticate to other computers on the network. LAPS is a free Microsoft solution that sets each computer's local admin account password to a new random and unique value. Passwords are stored in a confidential attribute on the corresponding computer object in an Active Directory, where only specific users can access and retrieve. The other piece here is enabling Windows Defender Credential Guard, hardware security platform securities such as secure boot, visualization, protecting credentials, visualization-based security, Windows and TLM, Kerberos credentials run in a protected environment isolated from the running of Windows 2019 operating system. Protection against advanced persistent threats, APT, theft attack techniques, tools are they block targeted attacks. Also enabling Windows Defender Exploit Guard. Using signals and intelligence from the Microsoft Intelligence Security Graph, ISG, identifies malware and active exploits, stopping these attacks at various stages. Hardening recommendations for Windows Firewall. Blocking PowerShell access from internet access. This protects your systems from attacks leveraging PowerShell to launch ransomware and other attacks. Setting up security monitoring. Utilize the event log to identify the following blocked applications. Monitoring applications not in their standard folders, disable unnecessary ports. Review of business requirements and service needed will help the security team identify the minimum ports required to support daily business. Most common ports to have enabled are 80 and 443. This is under the HTTP and HTTPS protocols. Ubuntu 20 LTS, also known as Focal FASA, is a long-term release based off of Linux kernel 5.4 LTS. It includes support for new hardware such as Intel Comet Lake CPUs and initial Tiger Lake platforms. Features with Ubuntu LTS include automated server installs, resilient bootloader, live installer including IP tables to NF tables migration. This version also makes encryption much easier and allows useful failures to be reported. Examples of popular scripting languages supported by Ubuntu include QEMU 4.2, Python 3.8, and Ruby Interpreter. There are several more, but these are just a couple to highlight. Moving on to IP tables firewall. IP tables is a Linux-based firewall software identifying packets received and then uses a set of rules on what to do with them. The IP tables filters packets are based off of the following. Tables, the definition of a table. Tables are files that join similar actions. A table consists of several chains. Chains contain a string of rules. When a packet is received, IP tables finds the appropriate table, then runs it through the chain of rules until it finds a match. A rule is a statement that tells the system what to do with a packet. Rules can block one type of packet or forward another type of packet. The outcome where a packet is sent is called a target. Targets are a decision of what to do with the packet. Typically, this is to accept it, drop it, or reject it, which sends an error back to the sender. As we did with the Windows server and firewall information with hardening recommendations, we'll do so as well with Ubuntu and IP tables. So with Ubuntu, the very first step is to secure the SSH access. By doing this, what you want to first do is disable the root login. This is generally done by default. However, to confirm it is disabled, you can do so by going to the settings of permit root login value. Set that value to no in the etc/ssh/sshd_config file. Change the SSH default port. This will filter out any non-targeted SSH attacks. This is done by replacing port 22 in etc/ssh/ssh_config. Replace the password authentication with SSH keys. This is to protect against brute force password attacks. Enabling AppArmor. AppArmor is a security module allowing for customized restrictions. This can limit network access to read-write permissions. This is generally pre-installed with Ubuntu. However, sometimes it comes as defaulted as disabled. Enable the firewall solution to protect any unused ports. The firewall comes installed with Ubuntu, but as we discussed with AppArmor, it is also originally disabled by default. As with Windows Server hardening, it is important to run regular software updates, capturing security patch releases from providers. Hardening recommendations for IP tables. Establishing rules to filter bad traffic. Adding rules to filter bad traffic will block some of the most common attacks and protect against script kiddie style attacks. While IP tables won't prevent from full-scale attacks, DDoS, denial of service attacks, general rules can help fend off scanning bots that are looking for security vulnerabilities. Regularly testing firewall settings. This can be done by utilizing network sniffers such as TCP dump to monitor the network and test firewall settings as part of another hardening recommendation. Lastly, logging all undetected traffic. Create logging rules auditing what is hitting the server. This will help identify any undetected traffic to your server. This completes my presentation today. Please let me know if you have any feedback or questions. Currently, these are the references that I used to arrive at the details within my presentation. Thank you and have a good night.